Las Vegas Emergency City Council meeting. As you're all aware, we had a very disastrous flooding in our community, and we're here to discuss amongst the council and also to the public, and give you guys an update as to what's going on, let you know the situation that we're in. So with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Mayor David Romero.
Here.
Councilor Martin Martinez.
Present.
Councilor Barbara Casey. Here. Councilor Michael Montoya.
Present.
Councilor David Olivari.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We go to form. Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Approval of the agenda is presented.
Motion by Councilor Casey, do I have a second? Second, sir. Second by Councilman Mali. Roll call.
Councilor Montoya.
Yes.
Councilor Casey.
Yes.
Councilor Olivari.
Yes.
Councilor Martinez.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Casey, a second by Councilor Olivari. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. Before we start, I know we're going to answer questions. A couple of our community continues to ask, should the city or the state or the federal government declare an emergency? I just want to let the public know that our flooding event that took place is a cascading event because of the Cap Canyon fire. And within the city's declaration of July 2022, a declaration of emergency by Mayor Louis Trujillo, that's still in effect, as is the declaration from the governor of 2022 and also the federal government, which President Biden. So just to clarify as to the need for having that declaration of emergency, that's not needed because this is a continued cascading event of the Hermit's Peak Cap Canyon fire. With that, I'll go ahead and Mr. City Manager, if you could update us as to the situation that we're in and where we're at. And following him, we also have Ms. Deborah Salzer. Ms. Salzer Group, she's our disaster recovery consultant. And then we were trying to get our Souter River consultants in to describe that they're still dealing with the situation at the plant. So that Travis Martinez, kind of update or system what's going on. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor and Councilors, thank you again for having me here and allowing me the time to speak to you out there. Thank you for being here. It's been a few difficult days. I'm going to do my best to explain really what has been going on and what is the meaning of the PSAs that we've been on. If we go back to Friday, we had a large storm come hit the city of Las Vegas. About 4 inches of rain come down. We had a lot of surface water in town and drainage into the Guyanus River. We experienced that in the city first. The storm then continued and hit the mountains. So we had a second surge of water come through. As the mayor had pointed out, this is a cascading event from the Hermit's Peak Cap Canyon fire. When we had the water hit the mountains, the water was not running down the Guyanus River. The water was running down the mountainside straight into Peterson and Radnor reservoirs. Those two reservoirs took on a lot of water. Peterson, for example, the water came up about 13 feet in about 25 minutes of time. And we had about 2 feet of water overflowing Peterson Dam, quite a bit of water. For safety measures, we wanted to make sure that the public was safe, and so we called for an evacuation. So we did that. It was kind of late at night. It was about 8 o'clock at night. There were a lot of rumors spreading around about the dam broke. The dam didn't break. We would back up Saturday morning. Before I go there, late Friday night, we were able to get some of the gates open to relieve some of the pressure out of the dam. We went up Saturday morning in with the Dam Bureau, state engineers, several individuals went with us to inspect the dam and make sure that the dam was safe. The dam is safe. I'll call out that in 2011 there was a survey done on the dam to find out what's the capacity of the dam, how can it structurally handle water? And at that time, it was determined that we could have as much as 6 feet of water go over the top of the dam before it caused integrity issues to the dam. That was in 2011. So as a city, we want to make sure residents are safe. We're not gonna wait until 6 feet if that happens again. We'll monitor the water, and if we feel that water's coming up high, we would call for another evacuation. So just wanna say that, it's for safety measures. As we looked at the water though in Peterson, again, a lot of water coming from the hillsides went straight into the reservoir, brought the water level up about 13 feet. There was a lot of clay, sand, additional ash, and timbers that came down into the water. That reservoir, as far as how the water system functions, that reservoir is meant to be used as a settling dam or settling tank per se. Soot, ash, so forth, we go into that water. It takes time for the debris to settle. But once that water is at a point where we know that our water treatment plant can handle the water, then we move that water from Peterson down to Bradford. Right now, the turbidity and the debris in the water is very high. So we're cutting off the use of Peterson in any capacity at this point. The next reservoir down in Bradner, again, typically we would have water go from Peterson into Bradner. Bradner then has I don't want to say cleaner, but it has a more clear water source there that we can draw, send to the water treatment plant, process the water for drinking purposes. Right now, there's a lot of debris and turbidity in Bradner as well. So we can't draw from that reserve. The water treatment plant is set up to automatically shut down if water is not clear enough or if there's too much debris for the system to handle. It will automatically shut down, and that's to protect the system. And that is what the system is doing. It's functioning the way it needs to. So Peterson right now is offline for us to use. Bradner's offline for us to use. We're not sending water into the treatment plant because it would shut down. So that means we're relying on the water that has already been treated and put into the storage tanks. Right now we have over 3 million gallons of water in those storage tanks. With that, we know the daily consumption that's typically used with the city, which is around 1.5 million gallons a day. We have put out PSAs restricting unnecessary use of water so that we can prolong the use of that treated water we already have in reserves. Back in August of 2011, we passed a resolution, it's number 1141. And what that does, that resolution allows us to set up stages of water quality and ability to use it. Right now, we're in an area where it's stages 7 through 9, and that's where we call for restricted use of water. Unnecessary use of water, we want to stop, and that's why we put out a PSA yesterday to stop restaurants, to stop the car wash, to stop laundry, any laundromat services, anything like that that would use a large amount of water. We do know that we would continue living here, and so that's why we have gas stations, hardware stores, hospital services, supermarkets. Those entities are all still open, so we can go in and still get foods. We can get bottled water or drinks, everything we have there. But we're trying to cut back on the use of our water. That's the purpose of that stage 7 to 9. The next stage, if we have to go there, and that's an if, is our stage 10. And that's where the focus of our water reserve would be for fire protection. That would be the highest stage we would go to. We're not there yet, but we are monitoring the amount of water that we have in storage, and we're coming up with some plans of how do we handle that. So, Mayor, you pass on or ask Deborah if she would like to step in and help us with some of the opportunities we have right now to start resourcing water. Absolutely. This is Deborah Sulzer, Deborah is a consultant with the city of Las Vegas to help us with the disaster recovery services.
Before we continue, Mr. Member, I know I had looked at the audience and things about this numbers. As we go to item number 3, that's where we discuss the reason why you guys are here. We're just trying to kind of update us to the situation, and hopefully you guys understand the situation that we're in and the drastic measures that we call for, and that us brought you guys here before us here today. So you be patient with us, continue with the information, and I think we'll get to that item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Montgomery and the council. I'd like to update you guys on just some of the things that we're working on to supplement the water supply because of the shortage and because of the issues in processing that water.
Ms. Deborah, could you make sure that you talk about
We are not
into the agreement?
Sorry about that. Just update everyone on the measures that we're taking, the action that we're taking to supplement the water and deal with the crisis that we're facing right now. I'm here. Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it on? It's right here. Yeah. All right, I'll try again and speak just a little louder.
Miss Deborah, please. That might be this. Councilor Casey.
Can you hear me now? Can everyone hear me now or? Counselor? I'm talking.
Yeah, she is.
I'm talking.
Yeah, she is.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, she's talking. Yeah, I don't know if that counts. Hear me, Councilor?
All right, how's that? Okay, awesome. What we everyone else in place to deal with this. Right away, we together called with some of the experts and a couple of different solutions. I think the first one that we're trying to do is unit, whatever it's called, which would take the water that has so it's not a lack of water, it's a lack of water that's not a fight. So that is our criteria we're on to identify a unit. Unfortunately, it is at Montreal. So it will take a minute to figure out, hopefully within the next 6 or 14 days, actually have an operation. While the water treatment plant continues to process the water that's available, we have some of it as it happens. We're also looking at measures that would actually water and putting water in more like it's going to be a very logistic operation that we hopefully we have that put together. commitments from municipalities and areas, to provide water to the city, transport. We've also been working with the city and the government with distribution setups here in our district of water. We're working on that. Where and how the water is. We actually have a backup plan because water basically give us as much water.
Mr. Casey, real quick, getting your mic, your on, and also so is your phone. So we could turn.
I'm not in my computer.
Okay, it seems like they took care of it. I'm sorry about that. It looks like they took care of it.
So those are the, I guess, the immediate steps that were taken to provide not a cap in water distribution for the city. So longer term, we're working on some measures that would be put in place so that if this happens again, we won't be faced with the same types of issues.
So Deborah, is the system that is in Montreal, basically the same one that we had here before?
No, ma'am.
Right after the fires?
No, ma'am, it's not. It's a mobile, the one that was here right after the fires was kind of a semi-permanent system that was a bunch of different pieces and parts placed together. This is a mobile, it's on a bed, truck bed that actually gets plugged in and set up. We're hoping somewhere real close to the diversion or near the water treatment plant is where we're targeting, but we're in anticipation of its arrival, we are prepping the site and kind of getting all of the logistics in place so that we can accept arrival of that and start producing water right away. But it is not the same system.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councilors, before we move on to Mr. Martin or Mr. Commander, any questions from councilors? If councilors want to go ahead, if you have questions, question one here from Martin and Travis.
You know what, I guess maybe what we ought to do is have questions for each of the individuals that are here. Can you go ahead and ask questions at this point?
So this question here, presentation from Mr. Travis and Marvin as to where we're at. Mr. Travis, you kind of heard the audience, Mr. Seaman, kind of where things out. I think we need to go into those details, but maybe there's no information you have.
Any new information we have?
Well, information as besides occurrences from the raid on Thursday, Friday, we don't need that information. We don't-
So as it stands right now of where the water treatment plant is,
Mayor, I can't hear the.
can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Barbara?
Yes.
Nice, cool. So as of 3:00, the water treatment plant has established a flow of water into the clarifiers. We just got back our test results that are 2.6 NTUs.
1.9.
1.9 NTUs. The critical and max that the plant can take is 20 NTUs. So right now we are flowing. We're trying to establish that we have a couple days, and if the water in the river stabilizes, which the water treatment plant is on top of, we will be able to have a continuous flow. So right now we are hoping to establish by 8 o'clock this evening that we'll be able to start filling up the tanks.
So, I think it's great progress, and it's good to hear that. I think the preparing part of having water brought up here is critical, because we could have issues if we have another storm come through that would increase the turbidity in the reservoir, in the Guyanus River, and that would impact the reservoirs, obviously. So I think it's really important to call out that we have a limited supply of treated water. We have plenty of water. Our reservoirs are at 100%. It's just that we have a limited supply of treated water, and the system, the water treatment system is designed to stop production if the turbidity levels are too high. And as Travis was alluding to, the turbidity levels cannot exceed 20, and we have them in the zone of like 160, 170 or higher. And so the system's doing what it's supposed to do. So we need to make sure we are really, really cautious and careful with using our water. Hopefully we can get back online. Time will tell with that. And then also, as long as we don't have more storms come through and increase the turbidity into the Guyanus, then we can continue drawing from it if that doesn't happen. As our backup, as Ms. Salter had called out, we are trying to bring in water that we can pump into our storage tanks, and your faucets would run as usual. So we can keep that backup going, and then also the alternative pre-treatment plant that would help reduce the turbidity levels and allow us then to put that into the treatment plant. So,
And we just spoke with OME, Dennis, I believe is his name. He stated that they are gonna be bringing in an RO system, which will help treat the water even better. Marvin and myself were actually talking about a place that we can set up at the water treatment plant. As far as it's coming in, I haven't got the details just yet on its estimation arrival, but he did state, he did state that it's on its way. So that's just extra help that we have there.
So just re-emphasizing that staying cautious with the use of our water, there's a reason behind that. And that, again, if storms brew or there's any reason that water treatment plant can't continue with production.
So you might want to come over here to that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I did talk to the individual that's bringing the water treatment system. It's a 15,000 gallon a day system, so that equals to 10 gallons per minute. We're going to set it up at the water treatment plant. And this is for people that need potable water immediately. So they can go to the water treatment plant and fill them up.
Let's get back to this. I want to, Mr. Marvin is an employee of Sauter Miller. Sauter Miller is our contracted water professionals that we have. You've been on board for, I believe, how long?
I'm going on 5.5 years
With Sauter Miller.
with the status. I'm going on 13 years with the Sauter Miller Associates. Prior to that, I was the Public Works Director of the City of Escalima, and prior to that, I was the Utilities Director for San Pedro County. I'm the one who finished up with the conversions. That's the main water supply for the City of San Pedro.
Can you tell us your name, please?
Marvin R. Martinez.
Thank you.
Questions?
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I guess I have questions in reference to the, I don't want to jump into an area where we're talking about non-essential or essential businesses at this time. You know, I did hear the information, you know, from the Salter, group, from Deborah, and
Mr. Mayor, can they speak into the microphone, please? I mean, if I can't hear it, I don't know the people who are watching it can hear it.
well, we're not too sure now.
I think it's pertaining to, you haven't called in.
Okay, so anyway, my question would be that mobile water purifying system that you talked about from Montreal, do we have any kind of time frame that we have in reference to bringing that in? That's, I guess time is of an essence at this point. You know, we're at a point where we don't have use of Taylor well system, we don't have use of our story lake system. So we don't have another alternative as of right now, unless or until those two reservoirs are clean enough to be able to be set up for use in our system. So, that would be one of my first questions, definitely. I want to know more is there a time frame? Is that something that was set up through our governor to get down here? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Actually, I think, the funding source will be, through the state and through the federal government, through FEMA. However, we were able to source and identify that, the city just, being proactive, not waiting for anybody else to do it. And I anticipate the system could be ready to be on the truck, I think they said in 36 hours or something like that. However, it's gotta be driven, it's gotta come on transport, so we're saying operational 10 days. I'm being cautious and giving it some time. I mean, my plan is to push that as quickly as possible. We already started, just before we got here, we gave the go-ahead to start the site preparation and the design, whatever logistics, if we need piping, we need pumps, we need, some sort of, extra support on the site, whatever it is, the engineers are designing that now. And I have an emergency contractor, I think that is ready to roll to get that done. So we're not losing any time, we're gonna prep the site, make sure it's all ready to go, and then when it gets here, we'll be able to accept it and immediately get it to start working. But I'm trying to be cautious, I don't wanna give anybody, be too aggressive, yeah. So
Okay.
I'm saying 14 days is conservative.
Okay, and, going back to, I've put a lot of thought into this, because we've got essential and non-essential businesses that have to react to the decisions being made by the body that's here today. And of course, I give a big applause to, to our Mayor David Romero and our city manager. However, I just wanna, I don't like to dwell on the past, and I will mention this because I think it's so important that we continue to move forward with a good understanding of making sure that our public water is safe to drink and to keep and to have a good quality of life. I think it's such an important piece to have alternatives that we don't have in place, okay? And those alternatives don't exist in place today because the ball has been dropped somewhere, okay? And then on top of that, the Hermit's Peak Cap Canyon fire added definitely big problems to that whole system. So, my big concern is, I'm upset. I'm definitely upset at the fact that we excuse me for a moment, I'm just, I get very, very, very upset and very passionate about the fact that we're not doing what we need to do as the public wants us to do. We're not taking care of our community. And we have to do a better job of making sure that we have options that are viable today, ready to go. We can't be waiting for something to happen like this so that we can figure out what to do. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, not the other councilors or the public. I care definitely about our community. But we can't do the right things if we don't have the right leadership. Today, we have good leadership, and I think we can make good decisions based on that. But we need to consider all the factors. We need to make sure that we are taking care of our community, taking care of the little pieces that add to that water system, the Taylor well field, make sure it's currently up and running. It should be running at some capacity almost all the time. It has been shut down for 12 years, and it makes city officials and leaders look bad. I am just sorry that we are at a point where we're at. We have about a $50 million setup over there between Story Lake and the water treatment plant that we cannot use. That's too bad. We have to be better than that, and I'm gonna applaud the team, the Salsa group, of course, Soderviller that's been part of this program, and the people that continue on this team moving forward, the employees of the city of Las Vegas, to make sure that we are gonna do what we need to do to make sure that we have water. So, those are my comments. I just wanna make sure that people are aware that we need to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. The problem is behind us now. We have to be part of the solution. The solution is in front of us. We need to take care of it, fix it, and move forward. And that's exactly the way I feel, and I hope that I have buy-in from the rest of the council, the mayor, and our state manager, and let's see how it turns out. We're gonna hope for the best and try to take care of it soon. I've been kind of proactive in trying to get some of this stuff done. I am the newest member to the council. But just like you people that are here today, you recognize the problems that we've had for all these years. We haven't done much to fix it. We have to fix it. So I'm asking and urging this council and mayor and city manager, we need to find all the details, fix all the problems that we have and make sure that we move forward with it. Because it is passionate to you. And I hope it is passionate to you. Mayor?
Thank you, Councilor. And I just gonna give the floor to anybody, but I just want to say, we've had this issue, but we gotta take in consideration that prior to Cap Canyon and Herman's Peak fire, we weren't expecting this kind of turbidity, this type of ash, this type of debris in our reservoirs. This where we are today is because of the fires. Yes, things should have been done in the past. We can't continue to sit here and point fingers. We're at a situation where what's in our tanks here today is very limited. We can't draw from anywhere else like we normally would in normal years. And I see we have former elected officials here, current elected officials. This is something that prior to 2 years ago, we never had even imagined. We imagined the fires, but we never thought that we'd have to deal with it. Yes, my frustration has been, today I have 48 hours of dealing with this, it's like we're having the same repetitive talk that we did when the fires, right after the fires happened. And it's not fair to the community, it's not fair to us, that now we all have to sacrifice. But we're here today and we gotta continue to be resilient the way we've been in the past, be hopeful, keep our prayers, and I know, believe me, some of us are business owners up here, we know, we don't wanna kill the economy of our community, but we also gotta understand that drastic measures had to be taken in the past 18 hours, on closing some of these, and I know, the lashing that we're getting, and I'll take full blame for that, it's okay. But we need to save as much water as we can until that day comes that we know that we're gonna be able to draw from water, we don't know how long that is. And I'll leave it at that, we'll continue with the agenda, but this is just something that we're having to deal with. On it 24/7, we have so many experts that are bringing to the table, the federal government and the state government. Councilors, I'll let you guys want to fashion me, do what you want to do, but I'm here, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to do what we can because of the situation. Councilor Casey.
I don't have anything to say, I just think that, we have done everything that we, have been able to do with the amount of money that we had in the coffers and special fundings that we received from the state. We have been ready, we've done everything that we can to maintain our water system. So it's not like we just sat back and said, oh, well, whatever happens, happens, that's not the case at all. And I think people need to understand that too. It's very difficult to, get, monies, especially for a small community. A lot of federal monies go to bigger cities, because there's more people there than the internet, and we've done everything that we can to ensure that the people who want to have water. And I've seen that with the different, ideas from different cultures, I think those are, very creative and reasonable ideas that we can utilize and implement, and we're going to do it as fast as we can. But people need to help us out too by trying to conserve as much water as possible. We all need assistance. We all have a terrible issue with flooding. And that damage here in my home myself, and I know that there are probably hundreds of others that have the same situation. But we need to work together and do everything that we can as a team and work so that we can ensure that when we say we're going to do this. Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I would like to ask our interim utilities director, Mr. Travis Martinez. On the dam that got contaminated is in jeopardy of the water not being able to utilize that dam, which is Peterson. How old is that dam?
It was built in 1911.
1911. And is there any plans to redo that dam?
Yes, sir, we are in phase 3 of replacing the dams for planning and design. Right now, it's at the state engineer's office for review.
So it's not like we haven't been able to do anything about it. We're in the process, thank you very much. We're in the process of renovating that dam. And, I'd also like to recognize one of our previous mayors, Mr. Alfonso Ortiz, that's in the audience, and also Mr. Pete Campos, our senator, which on Bradner, Mr. Ortiz, I believe in his administration and with the help of the legislature, received 15 to $16 million to renovate and redo Peterson Dam. And thank you.
It's brand
Brandon Dam. And now, the 1911 dam that we know that's leaking, we have, like you heard from Mr. Charles Martinez, we have plans to do that dam also. So it's not like we're not doing anything about it. Right now, we have already secured $1 million that I know of towards that dam. So on top of the rest of the infrastructure that we've been doing in the city of Las Vegas, replacing water lines, sewer lines, and so forth, that's how our roads are kind of messed up in some areas because we are investing in our system. At this time, I'd also like to mention and thank our city employees and our staff for working long hours last night, the night before, the day before that. They're tired as we are. I've been attending meetings with the mayor, and it's exhausting. And with the social group and with the city manager, it's been meeting after meeting, trying to get assistance, trying to get help, and so forth. But I do thank our city staff, directors, the employees, the police department, the firemen, for the road closures, for the helping vacate, and also in the audience, I see our DA, Mr. Tom Clayton. Thank you for your support, Commissioner Trujillo. Thank you. Hasn't been an easy thing. But we are working at it diligently, and we are working toward bringing water to Las Vegas. We have been delivering some water now, bottled water, some bags, and we're gonna be getting some more. We're trying to solve the problem. We're not trying to create any more problems. As far as the fire, I mean, I was in all those meetings since day one. And FEMA, and the federal government admitted it was their error. And that's why checks are coming in now to people that deserve it, and including business owners. And this is one of those things that we're gonna have to tie it back to FEMA. If we shut down your business and we don't have that water for visitors or locals or to keep our businesses open, we're gonna have to get a reimbursement from FEMA. And that's for your loss, for your business, and also for your employees. And I believe the governor's working on other avenues of compensating employees. So I'll leave it at that. You know, this storm was overflowing, and I don't care what system anybody would have had in place, we would have ended up with the same result. As you saw, the streets, the arroyos, they were overpowered by water. And when we had the fire, I did an interview on PBS, national news, that floods are more dangerous than fires. Fires, you can feel the heat. Fires, you can see them coming. Floods, you can't. And when you have 6 feet going over a dam, sure, it was designed for that, probably. It's a lot of water. And there's no controlling that. And as the city manager said, we are at full capacity. We are near full capacity. 96% of the storages are all full. The thing is that we can't utilize that water. And the river, the same thing. When it comes down, can't utilize it. So we're trying to work as hard and as diligently as we can. I mean, the mayor has had some tough conversations with our consultants and with other groups, and we're gonna get it done. But again, we ask for your help. Everybody's got to sacrifice in order for us to make it through. But I do want to say that Las Vegas will survive. We will continue, and we'll manage. We're survivors. We survived the fire. So we'll survive this. And hopefully, within days, hopefully we can get some help, and we're looking into all options. Our plant, we know it's old. That's why we're renovating it. We're asking FEMA for billions of dollars. We're going to be asking them. That's why we did an RFP. We got attorneys on board. That's why we got consultants on board, Salsa Group, because they're going to help us recover all those costs plus more. I mean, that's not the only thing Las Vegas lost. We lost a lot more. We lost revenue, we lost roads, we lost, you name it. And we're going after it. But all that thing takes time. But I ask for your patience, and I ask for your support, and we'll move forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank our city manager and our staff, police department, fire department, our residents, to be calm. You know, we're on crisis. We've been to our fires, all the weather that's coming down to our neighbors and our rivers. Our residents are really concerned about that. But I'll tell you one thing, we have a good staff, we have a good city manager, council, and our citizens. I just wanna say to our citizens in Las Vegas, use minimal water for a couple of 10 days so we can survive this disaster. And I wanna thank everybody that's been working from the governor's office to our senators to our residents to conserve as much as they can. We will make it better as long as we get help from our governorship. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, please just one more comment.
We'll do this and so we'll get you.
Again, I just, I would like to be clear about the action of this governing body. Okay, this governing body is going to find a solution and make a solution for long-term water use, okay? We're not gonna sit back. This is not a question and answers information so that everybody can feel bad about what we've done in the past. We have to be looking for solutions. We've got good people on board with our consultants. I just want to make sure that the message is clear, okay? You've heard the other councilman and Councilwoman, Ms. Casey. You've heard them that they're asking the public to take precautions to be, to take care of their needs. But don't go above and beyond those needs because we have to preserve our water, at least for the short time. We are looking for long-term solutions. We have a lot of long-term solutions that we want to put in place. And by all means, I strongly feel that this team right here is going to fix our water problem. I'm gonna challenge each and every one of them to do so. So, and that includes, we've got Travis Martinez on board, we've got Mr. Martinez from Sutter Miller, and of course our consultant, Deborah. We have to do a better job for our community. So, I wanna cut through the chase, we need to move on with our agenda. I'm sure that the mayor will be explaining more about the essential and non-essential as we move forward through the meeting. So, thank you very much, okay?
Again, before we get to this next item, I just want to make this clear is that this situation, this cascading situation that we're dealing with is something that no man, no expert, no professional could have prevented. This is something that Mother Nature, which we all know Mother Nature cannot control. This is something that Mother Nature caused. This storm, we will get into the Herman's Peak Canyon fire, but this storm was Mother Nature at its best. And I know, I hear from the community, we should have done this and we should have done that. Like I said, no professional whatsoever could have prevented what we went through. And I think that needs to be clearly stated. Point the fingers however you may, but no professional, no expert, no human being could prevent it, what we're dealing with today.
Mayor, can I add something real quick to your comment? Being somebody that responded to the water treatment plant when this incident did occur, when the water came, I'll tell you, for seeing it first time, I've never seen water move like that before, especially off the mountain. Everything that we had designed to protect those reservoirs, there was no stopping that force. Like Mayor said, Mother Nature took its course and we have the repercussion of it now, but seeing it firsthand, I don't think there was anything anybody should have done at that time. And to allude back to what the city manager said about 10 feet and 20 minutes, we've calculated that to about 2,730,000 gallons in a matter of 20 minutes. That's something that's, the system cannot take. So being someone there that's seen it, and I don't think I ever want to see it again. That is the crisis where that is.
Mr. Mayor, moving on to our next item, request approval to bring in a team of experts to address the emergency water crisis.
So Mayor, this is uncharted territory. We need to bring in professionals, we need to draw from every resource possible out there. And with this request, what I'm really asking is for the governing body to support us moving forward, obviously with communication and collaboration, with the ability for me to make decisions as needed, bring in assistance, whether it's from the state, from Army Corps of Engineers, from state police, everybody that's helped us so far, but there's so many resources out there that we need to draw on. And that may require making financial decisions, making immediate decisions when we don't have the opportunity to come forward to the governing body for a vote. And so I'm asking that we have that latitude.
And then I just want to clarify that to know, as you mentioned, we've been dealing with professionals in that. What we're talking about is additional that we may not have on contract, additional from, the federal and the state side. The state has, offered their professional, but again, this isn't a decision that only I feel that I should make, or the city manager should make. This should be a decision that we all make. I'm ready to make that decision. I would, we did within our capacity, but at the end of the day, it's gonna have to come to you guys, and that's the reason why we call this emergency meeting, so you guys could, also give your input. Believe me, the advice has been given, well, don't say, the dire situation that we're in. What I think that the community needs to know, the situation that we're in, we need to be here, we need to be transparent, and not just wait, because if we run out of water within those cabin tanks and we cannot produce water from the reservoirs, we don't want to be the last minute to let you know, sorry, when we start getting calls that your water's not coming out of your tap. I think we all need to kind of be proactive, let you guys know the dire situation that we were in and some of the decisions that we made. And I hope that's, I know it's not going to be a situation that everybody's going to be happy, but I think we're all elected to protect you as best as we can and make those hard decisions. And I think those hard decisions were made, will be continued to be made. But I think we have to also be open and transparent to you guys and not just building new surprises. So, councilors, that type of discussion.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor?
thank you. I really believe that the city has within its employees and leadership positions that can advise you and the mayor pro tem and let us know, the rest of us know what is in the works so that we can contact our constituents and let them know. I think we have to be a little bit more proactive in getting the word out on social media and the radio, especially the newspaper. A lot of people do not have social media and need to make sure that the messages go out while in English and in Spanish on the radio stations, both radio stations and any other way that we can do it. But what I would like to focus on is that we have a wonderful finance director who knows a lot, and he can work very closely in collaboration with our city manager, who also has a very strong background in finances. They have a lot of background in how government works, and we need to trust them and know that whatever they're doing is for the benefit of the people. And I trust those gentlemen, I trust the people that we have working in the utility department and the water treatment plant. That's what I'm saying, is that we have to have a little bit of trust so that we know that I feel very comfortable with the people that we have on staff. They're knowledgeable, and they care about the community, they live in the community, they are from the community. And I think that should be enough to, it gives me enough, peace of mind and the knowledge that I know that these people have, that whatever is their decisions they're making, the decisions they're bringing to us as a governing body are good decisions that are not going to be detrimental in any way to people who Las Vegas. And I know that a lot of people are upset because of closures of restaurants and people that can't work for a couple of days. But, and I understand that completely. But we need to all work together, and we're all making sacrifices here, trying to make sure that ultimately what we are doing will have a very beneficial and successful turnover. We'll be doing the right thing.
Mr. Burke, I see the need for this. I think we've gone to that point. I think we recognize everything that's happened. I think we recognize when things are in our hands. And I think I'm not a professional or an expert on a lot of these areas, but I do recognize that we do need to hire some people to get things done. And under the emergency crisis, I believe it's faster to be able to let these professionals decide who we need and what kind of equipment and what kind of machinery and so forth, consultants. We need some consultants on board now just to focus on this project. So if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to move forward and begin a team of consultants to address this emergency water crisis.
Second.
Motion by Pro Tem Flores, second by Councilman Martinez. Roll call.
Counselor Casey,
Yes.
Counselor Ivani,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya,
Yes.
Counselor Martinez.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Montoya, second by Counselor Martinez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor. No. One person that I would really like to thank is, and he's not present here today, but he's been with the fires since the beginning, is our Sheriff Chris Lopez. He's done an outstanding job for us. He's been there for us. He's done this before. He has a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and I just want to point him out and thank him for helping us out through this and everything we've asked for. He's helped us out with, and I appreciate that. In staff. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I also want to mention that Mr. Dennis has also been very overwhelmed and everything that he's doing with it. It's not appreciated.
Moving on to our third item, discuss and define the city of Las Vegas drought contingency and emergency response plan.
So, Mayor and Council, I brought up a resolution that had passed back in August of 2011, and this is where we can categorize where we are as far as the critical nature of this event. And by categorizing where we are, we're assessing how long is it going to take to bring the water treatment plant back into operation, what amount of water do we have in place to serve the community needs, and most importantly, the amount of water that would be required should we have any type of fire in town. And so taking all of those things into consideration, this is how we derived ourselves to be in that stage of 7 to 9. There's some variables that go within that 7 to 9 range where we get to the point of truly monitoring the amount of water going to homes and so forth. And we're not equipped at this point to be doing that. And that's why I say we're in this range of 7 to 9. We have a little over 3 million gallons of water, treated water in our tanks. And on average, our city utilizes 1.5 to 1.7 million gallons of water a day. And we're in a critical zone. If we don't take action right now, we can put ourselves in a very dangerous situation. And so the intent behind the PSA that I put out the other night was to stop the use of unnecessary water. And unfortunately, things like laundry facilities and restaurants, those type of things use a lot of water. And granted, those are nice amenities to have, but it utilizes a lot of water, and I need to put a stop to it. And that's why I put that PSA out. Unfortunately, there's some ambiguity with the PSA when it went out of what's unnecessary or not. And the way I look at it is truly water use, how much water we're using. And so I want to give some examples of what I still find acceptable. We have a senior center, and we need to make sure that our seniors are getting food. And so we are stepping outside of the county, and we're going to out to the San Miguel Vincos centers to prepare packaged food and bring that back to the center so that we can still provide services, but we're not utilizing the water. Restaurants, we need to keep restaurants sanitary. You have to mop, you have to do the dishes, you have to use water to prepare the foods, and those are nice things to have. But we're in a critical node of, we have at maximum 2 days of water in our facilities. And so I felt we had to make a drastic measure, and much like you, Mayor, I'll take that if it's a finger pointing, that it's a drastic measure we have to take. Because if we don't take these measures, we're gonna get to the point of we won't have water, and we're gonna have to make sure we have water only for fire. And I don't want us to get to that point. And so luckily, we have our consultant on board that's helping us and has contacts to find solutions, but those solutions do take some time. And there's no guarantees of how quickly we can have a system here, or how quickly we can have water trucked up here and put into our system. And so I can't wait until we're at the end. So that's where I am trying to define in my mind essential and non-essential.
So this is going to be reviewed and publicized in the Chamber of Commerce.
So right now, it's discuss and define, and I think this is where your guys' input is very important, and I apologize to the community. We did this agenda, the public input portion of this was not, be that it's an emergency, it wasn't put on there. And again, just because of the emergency, we had to get all the stuff put in. But you know what, at this time, and I'm gonna take this, allowable right now, and we have some business members here. Is it okay if I'll go ahead and give you guys 2 minutes, to give your input, if you don't mind coming up here and giving your input. And it's, let's be as proactive as we can. Again, you've heard all the situations that we're dealing with. So I'll go ahead and, Mr. Chief, if you could, let's do the 2 minutes. And we'll go ahead and after that, we'll get
The question wasn't really quite answered. Is this for publication or is this for us to discuss and give you direction? And implement?
Sure, this is really for us to discuss and define what would be acceptable, not acceptable, use of water for businesses to keep it.
Let me open that up if that's okay. You guys don't mind, I don't know, one of the first. Yeah, I mean, the phone there's one from Sir Casey. You don't mind?
Make sure that they're identified themselves.
Good afternoon, I'm Mr. Romero. Myself and my business partner Joseph Guerrero have several businesses in Las Vegas. And we're concerned with water consumption, of course, like everybody else. But I think that the drastic measures that were taken, according to that letter, I think that you should look at water consumption. Because there's several businesses in Las Vegas that actually use less water than residents. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration, whether your employees are at home or at work. If they need to go use the restroom, well, they're gonna go, whether it's at home or at work. in our businesses, we use bottled water. We do not use the sinks. We can sweep and use a dustpan and not mop if that's the case. We clean our things with glass cleaner and paper towels. We do not utilize city water to the extent of even a residence. The other thing that one of our businesses is medical cannabis, and that should be considered also a necessity for a lot of people because they get from with their doctors and they get these prescriptions and then they go and buy what they need to buy. The other business that I have personally is interlock business where I need to service those vehicles, so I need to stay open to service those vehicles. Those vehicles without being serviced, they will lock them out and then they don't have a vehicle to get to and from work or to and from wherever they need to go. But I really think that as a council and a city, we need to look at water consumption, whether it be more or less than a residence, and justify it that way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah Matthews. I'm a business owner here in town. I own Prairie Hill Cafe, which is located inside the historic Plaza Hotel. I would like to say first off that this is a really horrible thing our community is going through, and it's quite obvious how dire this situation is for everyone. However, I would like to say that I think we can consider some things, and we definitely need to look at which businesses are using water and how can we cut that down and how can we adjust. I understand that we're in a very critical period right now, but I think there's other factors to consider as well. How many thousands of people in our community are jobless right now for the foreseeable future? How is that going to impact our economy and their ability to provide for their families long term? What kind of adjustments can we make in industries such as mine, the food and beverage industry, to keep these thousands of people employed and our doors open? There's also the potential for private businesses to bring in their own potable water sources. We haven't even discussed that. We haven't even discussed the potential of what can be done to offset some of these things by primarily the food and beverage industry, which, you know, we can greatly cut back our use by going to all plastic and potentially even bringing in all our own potable water. So I hope these things are considered because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than the person sitting in this chair. To me, it's the 28 people I employ. And I'm looking out at other restaurant owners today, and I can tell you that thousands and thousands of people in our very poor community are going to be impacted. Every single one of my employees has children, so those are the people I'm thinking about right now. Thank you.
My name is Frank Worskins. We operate the former Stella's Cafe, currently called Kickstart Cafe on Bridge Street. I agree with some of the points already been made that have been made about the definition of essential versus non-essential, and particularly quantifying what a necessary reduction would be based on the fact that restaurants have dramatically different usage. And when we arbitrarily look at a restaurant as a restaurant in terms of our ability to reduce usage when you're a small cafe versus a restaurant, the small cafes, I think the point brought up earlier, our cafe probably consumes less than 4 family residents. We consume maybe 500 gallons to max 1,000 between doing dishes, cleaning up in the coffee machine, but that's very limited consumption compared to a typical residence. I would suggest in looking at a tangible solution. If the issue between essential and non-essential continues for much longer, I'd like to see the quantification of what actual use is today and what would be realistic in terms of reduction to consumption. And I bring a water bill from the city, and every water bill features a current reading and a previous reading. It would be very easy if we establish a reduction that the engineers in the city think are appropriate. I can look at our most recent reading and make a economic decision in terms of how much I need to reduce that to match the reduction in the water demand that's based on the actual storage capacity and how much time you need to adapt or adjust to that. I would estimate that looking at your current billing and the software behind it, I would estimate between $30,000 and $50,000. You could reprogram this bill within a week or 2 weeks and allow any customer to be able to look at how much I've reduced my demand and quantify it rather than arbitrary setting of numbers and closing businesses down.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph Diego, business partner with Gene Romero. Thank you all for being here and jumping on this situation right away. I think it's very important that we not wait till the weekday or whatever, but I just want to say that, kind of piggyback on what Gene said earlier, our businesses, we use very little water. Actually, maybe the restroom, we don't have a public restroom at our businesses. And so we, the water usage or no usage of water does not affect our businesses. But it is important that you look at everything across the board, as there are some businesses that do use more water than others, and it's a tough situation. So even at home, nothing to do with business, but at home, we all need to, in the old days, they used to say, when we have trouble, if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. You know, I'm gonna go home and use, mellow. So really, that's what we all can do individually to get us through these next, we gotta fight for 10 days, just 14 days, maybe 14 days, 10 days, you gotta stick your neck out and just make things happen. So, thank you all for being here and thanks for the time.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Oliver Lusprins. I'm the Dairy Queen on Grand Avenue. Excuse me for my appearance, I was putting some sandbags on. But I want to propose a couple of ideas that might help us. Number one, if we might be allowed to serve bottled water and not serve drinks from our fountains in order to stay open. Then all we have to do is use water to wash our dishes and get things going. Number two, instead of closing us all down, maybe limited hours. Maybe we close at 5. Maybe 12 to 5. We can serve the public, serve visitors, but we don't overdo it. We curtail our use. Those are a couple of ideas. The next thing is I would like to thank the city. There was one egregious violator this morning. McDonald's was wide open and serving people and using our city water and really spitting in the face of our city when we have an owner that is not present, who does not live here, and did not care about people in Las Vegas. And I understand they're shut down now, but they used a lot of water this morning, guys, a lot. Having said that, one more item. As a member of the Lodgers Tax Board, I would like to ask what are the plans for the PSS? Thank you.
name is Orrin Matthews. I don't have a business in Las Vegas, mine is outside of Las Vegas. But what I will do for anybody who needs water, I've got a lot of water. Anybody who needs water is welcome. It's under Rocky Road Ground Products, you guys are welcome to it. As far as any of your firefighting, anything, I've got several 100,000 gallons of storage on hand at all times. I furnish water for all the fires. Anybody's welcome to it. I don't want anything out of it. If the fire department needs some type of modification to fill their trucks, I'll do it out of my pocket. I've lived here for 60 years. I've been in business for 42 years. This is my town too, so whatever I can do to help our community, I'm there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matthews. Thank you, Mr. Matthews, because in all the discussions and meetings that we've had in the past 24, 36 hours, we have our fire chief out there, and his concern has been our fire safety, right? If a fire breaks out, we only have limited amounts of water in our tanks. We can't just, the equipment that the fire department uses, we can't just tap in a hose and pull water from the river. So that has been one of the topics that we've been discussing. So thank you, Mr. Matthews, for it means a lot. And again, I keep saying we're a resilient community, and this is how we're gonna get through this, is all working together and not pointing fingers, we can point fingers all we want. That's not gonna fix the problem, so thank you.
Yeah, well, my name is Mike. I only have an observation really for the council. Hotels, they use probably a lot more water than any one of our local businesses in one day. There's 1,000 rooms in Las Vegas. You're talking about 1,000 people taking showers, 1,000 flushing toilets, and more stuff. So I think before we look at what you consider non-essential businesses, which are really our families here, that you may look at, based on the big hotels that border that are, in our city, that maybe we can do something about that first before we kind of shut down the people that really make our community. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, my name is Charlie Sandoval, city staff. I just want to thank you guys for all your efforts that you've done so far today and ongoing on this project. I think one of the biggest things for me that is really rough right now is that I have employees, and I'm really concerned about the employees. What are we going to do about these employees? I think we should initiate call workforce solution with unemployment immediately, or anybody that needs help, or any source of income that businesses need. It's not easy to run a business, and it's really difficult. It's a lot of hours and time and effort that go behind it. And I employ a lot of people, at least 40 employees, and I'm a busy restaurant, and I think people sometimes count on me being open. I think it's important. I even joke around, well, I'm an essential business. You know what I mean? And I think people would want to meet and greet, and they want to talk about this. And information is the most important thing that we can get. And I really feel that once we know something, the council knows something, if we can relay it to the public so that there's not like rumors and scandals and all this and that, it's really important for us to know, like, they can be open. You know, that's really important. Because right now, like, all these people that have freezers and refrigerators, like, we need to know, what do we do with all this food? It's really, information is really important. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Rachel Price. My husband had to step out with our daughter, because she was getting wild. But I just wanted to double check if we're essential since we fall under the construction bracket, since we have appliances. But the one thing I do want to kind of touch base on is what Charlie and Sarah said, and that's their employees. Because this kind of falls under FEMA, the hardest thing for a business is that business losses are actually not even considered yet. So I think having access to funds for those employees is really important.
My name is Karen Petit, and I want to say to all of you, this is really, and it's not something we expected. That's why we call it an emergency. And we all have to cooperate, which we got the word last night. We locked the door in compliance. Of course, the employees are panicking. You know, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna pay our bills? And is my landlord gonna be okay with the fact that I don't have the money to pay him because I got laid off at work? And I heard a lot of these comments and people are scared. But nobody's gonna die from not eating out of the restaurant. You know, nobody's, people would die if I had water and we didn't have to wait. You know, maybe it might be a suggestion to the community that your relatives that you can go visit out of town, maybe you should go stay a few days. I mean, hopefully this is gonna be over in a few days, but when we say we have, correct me if I say this wrong, maybe just a couple of days of water, you know, in our water coffers. It's a scary situation, and it's painful. And several of the points made by Sarah and Charlie having restaurants, I mean, those are things I was gonna say that I'm not gonna reiterate, but I'm scared for my employees. I am. I can close my door. My place is big for me. I don't have a lease like other businesses or restaurants might have. But I really think this body, lawmaking council needs to look at, truly look at essential. Because a jewelry store on the Plaza Bridge Street is not going to cost a lot. You know, and just that one as an example. But I wish you luck. And we totally feel like we will comply with this, and I hope it will be over soon. And perhaps putting out to the community tools to put in the toolbox to save the water, and what we might be able to do to help you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Sylvia Baca, I'm a citizen of the community and also work at West Plains University. I apologize if I missed a discussion in this area, but I'm interested in knowing, is there a way that, has it been considered to maybe choke off the water supply by maybe 60%, which would buy us some time? Perhaps, and I know there's the fires issue and fire safety issue, but maybe as Mr. Matthews has graciously stated that he would donate some water in the event that was needed for fire. Maybe hauling in some tanks from out of town with water to help with fire safety would be another option. So just something to think about. It keeps control, and you can choke off the water system and maybe just let 30% of that flow in. And I think everybody is creative enough that they will work with that, even if it's at 30%. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys, in very difficult times, so
Mr. Mayor, I guess a lot of people are trying to figure out short-term events. In other words, what we're talking about is some kind of time frame. I know that's almost impossible to give. Short-term events meaning what exactly? I mean, maybe this thing can get up and rolling in a couple of days, I don't know. The fact is that, we've got some solutions on the way. What are the next phases of our continued effort to fix this? And that's what I'm trying to get. Maybe a timeline, can we develop a timeline so that we have an opportunity to share that with the community and say, okay, making sure that our water is not depleted within the 2 days or 3, whatever we may have out there available to us, what can be our day-to-day, just like Travis mentioned yesterday, I didn't hear Travis very well. We were trying to get the water plant in operation based on every 15-minute increments. So we almost have to make a timeline in reference to hours. And how can we use that timeline in the next couple of days so that the public know, I did hear everybody's information, and I think it's all good information. I'm grateful to those people that are willing to offer services to our city, definitely. And I do advise to go ahead and do that, of course. But for whatever it takes, let's create a timeline. I think at least give us some kind of perspective. What do we have left in days? What do we do now? Maybe choking down the system to be a more adequate flow for the amount of water that we do have. Your direction, Mr. Mayor.
I know we kind of went into the part that we're kind of not discussing what everybody's here for. But I do want to touch up on what you said and maybe get a look at. So based off of everything that we are with our water, right? We know how much we have in our cap and tanks. But we've asked to just have a meeting literally right before walking into the state. That's why we got here 5 minutes before. To do a meeting to just, the sheriff, I can't thank you enough for being a part of this and giving your input, in everything. But one of the things that we did discuss about us having a report, and did you touch upon that, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, what we discussed is trying to get a daily report on the water consumption, how the conservation efforts might be bringing that level down. We also have available what the levels in the current tanks are by zone, hopefully. The other thing we would have is measures of turbidity and how the water is doing, if we're improving at Radnor, if we're improving at Peterson, the Story Lake's improving. And then I think the other thing was a calculation on the time remaining on the on what we have currently. And then we'll continue to update that information with things like the amount of water we were able to bring in. We can talk about bottled water availability and things like that. But maybe we can set up a little bit of a dashboard or something. We can talk logistics, and I think originally maybe right off the bat, I just did post on the site, but we'll figure out something a little bit longer term. We're working really hard to capture all the information that we need, come up with solutions, and push that out to you guys and have that available for the governing body as quickly as we can. I think we made a lot of progress in a very short period of time, but there's a lot of work still to do.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Casey.
Thank you. Deborah brought up a lot of ideas earlier as to what can be done. Some are already, what she mentioned, are pretty quick that we can take care of. If it's possible, and the one that I really like and think would work, where we could function a little bit more normally as a city, is to transport potable water and put it into our tanks. If we could do that, if we distribute it like it normally is, people turn on their boxes and get water that you can drink and use for cooking and living things. I think that would be the number one thing to do, and she said to take that could be done between 12 and 24 hours. That's pretty quick, and I think that that's something we should focus on. The second one would be to, make sure that the system in Montreal is already, coming to it'll take a couple of weeks to get here. And that would be, something that we can, count on. Also, I really like Travis's, optimism when he explained that by this evening, we are going to be, testing the water in the plant to see how many NTUs are in the water, which we can see has gone down. Then there's also the possibility that they'll be able to fill up the tanks for the water that we currently have in Peterson. So those are very helpful things, but I really would strongly support or suggest that transporting potable water and filling our tanks for that should be a number one priority so that we don't have to lay people off for a week or whatever. Money is very important, and families, those people in our community need to be our top priority also. People need water. We have a lot of elderly people, we have those homes, we have all those places that need water. So I think that we can pump water into our tanks and be able to live normally like we do every day that we used to. I think that would be the best bet for everybody. I think it would allay any fears and stress on the part of the community, and we could function more close to being at a normal pace in the community.
I just want to, Councilwoman, I just wanted to just kind of emphasize that the transport of the water is something we are working very hard to make work. We've identified the transportation mechanism, we've identified the water source to pull the water from. However, logistically, that is going to be a very big deal. So, producing or having transported 1.5 million gallons a day is a lot. We're talking, maybe each tank is only 6,000 gallons. So you guys can do the math if you have a calculator. So
7,500.
there's a lot of logistics to that. So I would join the entire panel here and emphasize conservation, cutting down on water use, supplementing that use with bottled water, which we'll have on hand. The Bello thing was great. I wanted to say it, but somebody else said it. But even using paper products, reducing the amount of water you use at home. All of those things are going to be really important if that's something that's actually going to be feasible. We can't. It'll from a logistics standpoint, is going to be very difficult to have the same level. So to the extent we can reduce that level, I think we're working on having separate fire supplies as well, separate fire supply for water as well to take that pressure off. But I would just emphasize it right now to the extent we can reduce consumption. That's what we have to do.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Councilor Casey? Lieutenant Cliff?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to bring people up to date, while we're working with the state level, there is also another fire in Rio Grosso and flooding
going on in Ruidoso. So we're pulling staff this direction and that direction. And we're going through a lot up there in Ruidoso. So let's keep in mind that resources are tied up there as well as trying to help us out over here. You know, and going back to the restrictions and to this drought contingency, you see Mayor Alfonso Ortiz adopted this in August of 2011, which we thank you. I do, want to indicate that nobody likes mandatory reductions. I don't think anybody likes that. I don't. Especially coming from government. But this is something that is necessary for us to continue to survive. The city of Las Vegas does not want to lose revenues. And every time we ask for reductions, we're losing revenues. Every time we go down on restrictions, we're losing revenues. And that's monies and fundings that goes back into the system. So it's not a good thing for us. And Mr. City Manager, on restricting businesses, I would recommend and look at, there is some unfairness. And I've gotten phone calls, and some liquor establishments, local, 50 years here in town, are being shut down versus Walgreens, which is, they could afford to shut down, but they haven't shut down the liquor department. So there's inconsistency there, and then there's other liquor stores, the same thing. For instance, Lowe's grocery store, yeah, I can see the grocery part of it, but they're not shutting down their liquor establishment. So it's unfair for some in that industry. It's not that I wish to close them all down, I mean, I wish everybody would drink this is water, but the thing is that we need to be fair across the board. And I do want to thank those businesses that are complying with our request. Some of them said, we understand completely where you're coming from, this and the other. And again, I'm going to go back to this being a fire issue, and that all businesses should, and I encourage, to claim to FEMA. It's long shot, and long from now, but you need to get it reimbursed. This is part of that. For your employees losing wages, or your salaries, or your businesses losing, it's the same thing as the smoke damage and any other losses that you have lost. They're responsible for all this, regardless if it was an act of God or the water coming down. It doesn't matter. The thing is, if that fire went to happen, our watershed would have been safe, and a lot of this would have been happening. And a lot of that water didn't come up through the river. A lot of it came through the mountains on the west side of our reservoirs, and just went in and jumped in. So it's not just, it's from all the fire that happened back there. Thousands of acres happened that burned up there. So all that water didn't have nowhere to go but down. There's no vegetation, and all the trees are gone. So that happens after fires. So again, I thank you for having compassion with this council, mayor and council, and for what we're trying to do and trying to move Las Vegas forward. And I ask that everybody just, I thank all the business owners that spoke today that are concerned, and rightfully so. You have a business. So I thank you, Mr. Mayor, for calling for this special meeting. And I would lastly ask that you give us an update on your mayor's report on Tuesday's meeting. Thank you. Citizens. You have a meeting question? Yes. Just informal up-to-date meeting. Things that are going on for citizens. Thank you, Steve.
Councilor Shin.
Mayor, I just wanna, I'm still at a point where I just don't understand. I mean, I'm truly trying to grasp all this. And I'm at a point where I guess what we need to say it like this. What businesses have to close, okay? Because you've got mechanic shops, you've got parts stores, you've got hotels, you've got a number of businesses that are in our community. So maybe we need more clarity on that, number one. And, and again, I'm gonna say this, but, Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, maybe there's a way to figure out the fairness in this, because there are businesses here that exist that don't use a lot of water. So how do we get to that? I don't know. I don't have the right idea. I don't have that kind of experience to say this business must close. And then again, what are we putting ourselves into? I mean, is that something to be considered across the board so that we're as a governing body are fair to the entire city and not subject to, even any kind of a legal matter? I don't know. I don't know. I want to be fair about it. Of course, if it's all of us having to conserve, whether it's at home, at your business, what can we do? What can you guys do out there? Charties, for example, what can you do out there to promote staying open? What can be done? I don't want to turn this into a match that we have to continue to figure out better ways to do it, or should we just say, okay, just certain businesses are going to close and move forward so that we can conserve water the best way we can? We don't have enough clarity, I guess, and that's. I mean, we understand the clarity in reference to what's coming ahead. Okay, what can we expect, by the social group and so forth, but hopefully this can get, moving forward in a faster, way, but I need help. I need help to figure out where we're going with this.
Mayor, if I may also, I appreciate all the comments. I like hearing how each of the businesses operate. I like hearing the generosity of trying to help each other, neighbors help neighbors. I appreciate all of that, and I respect all of that. I too want something that's done fairly. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to put people out of business, unemployment, or anything like that. But I also want to get up Wednesday morning and be able to flush the toilet. Because we're at 3 million gallons. And I don't want to call out companies, I think we all know which one, but this morning we put the PSA out, it wasn't done. There was a business still operating and using water. And the way the resolution is written, it's not my choice, it's not what I'm trying to decide. The way the resolution is written is vague, it is necessity, unessential. That's all I have. And so all I could do is equally across the board put the restaurants, which was viewed as a high consumer, and there may be businesses that don't use much water, or restaurants that are using bottled water, whatever the case is. But I don't have a way in 2 days to get to every one of those businesses across the board and make sure that we're following those regulations. I can't get to meters, we have 2 days. And it's crisis mode, and that's where the response was coming from. My heart is going out for you. It really is. This morning I didn't shower, because I felt guilty. 3 million gallons of water is what we have right now. Yes, we're trying to get things in place to get the water here, but what if it doesn't happen? We have sun right now. What if we have another flood tonight and it comes through and it knocks out the Hyannis River and we're not able to draw from it the way Travis is working on tonight? We're in a crisis mode. So that's it. I'm very empathetic, trust me, but I also have to look out for what happens Wednesday.
again, public safety is number one. Public safety.
And if I can address that too, yes, safety is number one. Chief, I believe they've shown up, that we have brought in tankers. We have 6,000 gallon tank trucks at the fire stations now. And God forbid that we have a fire, but we're trying everything we can do to keep the water usable for us. And so those tanks are there. They will pump water out of Story Lake. If we have a problem, they'll refill. So we're looking at every option, and luckily we had something come through today from the DOT. Ms. Deborah, and you're working on a lot of things, and I hope they come through, and if they do, then in my view, that critical nature of what happens on Wednesday is gonna completely shift. And so that's the standpoint of it.
So I guess moving forward, Council, is, again, we're at the 3 million gallon truck, 3 million gallons. Last night's decision on this PSA and the determination of businesses in consultation with fire, one building that starts on fire, that amount of water can go easily. So for all these things, all these things that we are, taking in is to, how do we make decisions, how do we make sure, how do you prioritize your people passing through our community, eating at restaurants versus your home or your business going on fire and us not having those water resources. There's a lot of critical things that we're making decisions that, we know it's hard, but you gotta remember, you guys elected us, and we're trying to do the best that we can with what we have. And it's not like we're just shooting from the hip. As you saw, these resolutions, it wasn't us that decided, things this morning. We had governing body members that forecasted issues like this, but never, and I could probably ask each one of them, did you ever imagine the fire, the Cap Canyon Hermit's Peak fire? Did you imagine that the water would look like, so black that it looks like carbon? I mean, you guys, you elected officials, former elected officials, you guys might have thought it, but never seen it firsthand, and that's what we're doing today is we're seeing it firsthand. And that's why some of these restrictions and everything that we're dealing with and decisions that we're having to make based off of, proper planning that, officials made in the past. Please understand, 3 million gallons again, we keep bringing that up, 3 million gallons, and, we bring some stuff, we're working on that, as you hear, we're working on all these things, to make sure that we continue life in the city of Las Vegas. We promise here, I guess the promise here from the governing body is we'll define, what, these businesses and what we did, everything that we did, right, as some of this was made. But you gotta remember, last night, when this decision was made, it was a split-second decision to save water, and it worked, based off from when we started saying conserve water, and Travis took us for this in Marvin, our water consumption went drastically low. So, it helped. So just, take that into consideration. We'll continue to define, and work, again, as Hotel Montoya said, any revenue that's generated, well, that's gross receipts of this community, the city of Las Vegas, that we depend on to provide the services that you guys need for the roads, for the public safety, for everything. So it's not like we're just making these decisions because, we need that GRT, we need that revenue. Rest assured that our state delegation is working with us, our federal delegation, and we're all working together, in discussions, even our sheriff, we're getting, his input. He was part of these discussions, 2 years ago in proper planning, county officials who were working with them, again, thank you guys for allowing us to use this building. this isn't just a one-man show that we're making these decisions to hurt anybody, we're not. So, again, councilors, again, this is to define and give direction. Because we understand that we need to define more clarity on the action, the action that was taken yesterday. We heard, your guys' input, and we promise you that we'll take that into consideration. If it's not exactly what you want, don't crucify us, because remember, we're praying tonight. For the few hours that I did get home, most of my time is praying, and that's what we need. Mr. Travis Martinez, we had heard some good news today, but this good news, we were expecting that yesterday at this time too, and it didn't come through. So just take these things into consideration and don't crucify us if it doesn't exactly meet what you guys expect, to be. We're gonna do what's best for everybody. Thank you. So I think we heard, how we actually define it. For the businesses, how we have to define, those businesses, the consumption. Direction doesn't even, you guys have specific definitions of what the city manager to work. I think this is the time to say it.
Well, personally, I think, Mr. Mayor, that, I'm willing to give direction to the city manager at this point, to review the contingency plan and emergency response plan, and follow through as for all the comments made here today. I think, we heard from the public, we heard from us, and I think that's what needs to happen. Going back to Mr. Martinez, Councilman Martinez's comments, I do believe we need to try and be fair, but in that fairness, I don't know if part of this contingency plan needs to be that citizens or business owners need to work with our staff. So that, because our staff don't know what their business is all about. And the business owners can say, you know what? I'll post off my debt center, let me stay with my liquor package open. Or I'll put outdoor bathrooms, portables, let me shut down the running water, the city water lines. There's different scenarios in every business. So I think working together, like Mr. Romero said, they don't use water for this and the other, they use drinking water. Well, if they can get together with staff and staff sees that, that's pretty much good evidence to me, and if it's questionable, well, then you can send the water department and check their meter and see what the consumption is. But I think we need to work with the business community, with our business community. Every one of them is going to be different. But I would give the direction to just go forward on it, and take all these comments into play and see what comes out. I'll say that as a motion if you need a motion. It's a direction.
I'll second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by Pro Tem Lopez, second by
Councilor Lee,
Yes.
Councilor Montoya,
Yes.
Councilor Casey,
Yes.
Councilor Martinez.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Montoya, second by Councilor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second by Councilor Martinez, second by Councilor Montoya.
Thank you.